Welcome back to the Sports Outlet Show on this beautiful Wednesday night at 8 p.m. here Eastern Standard. I'm Joe Wagner, your host, alongside Brent Allegra and Braden Wilkins. Gentlemen, we're not talking about football, so thanks for coming. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
Shortest podcast ever. Absolute cinema.
Love it.
Got to do the hands. Guys, how are we doing? Braden, I hear we got the allergy bug. What's going on down there?
Dude, it's a little bit earlier than I was expecting for them to kick in, so it's been a bit of a struggle, but we're here. We're ready to talk some sports, and I'm excited.
Well, your voice is deep and makes you sound like Jason Momoa.
Thanks.
So if you're thinking about a movie career, I say let's get those tapes going.
Yeah, we got a similar physique, so I think it would work.
He kind of looks like Aquaman too. I'm not gonna lie. Look at him.
As Jack once said, Braden, you're 6'5", 240 pounds, built like a lumberjack, ready to run through a brick wall.
That's true. That's all true.
And there are a couple of people, Braden, that I think are ready to run through the brick wall of Canton, Ohio, as we shift our view to the 2027 NFL Hall of Fame class, right? Chatting through a absolutely loaded and stacked class, and I thought more about, what Brent said on last week's podcast, talking about Eli Manning and making the Hall of Fame, right? I looked up a list of like the top 20 people that have still yet to get in. It's not looking promising if there's a down year with some of these names, but hey, who knows?
And Deion Sanders, his whole thing was making it harder for these people to get in. He said it's getting too easy, that the Hall of Fame isn't the Hall of Fame anymore, that they should have one room for the actual Hall of Famers and one room for the people that, slid in somehow. I wonder what room he puts himself in. That would be a good question to ask him. But
I could say the same thing about Pro Bowl.
But, when you make it so hard that, two of the guys we talked about last week aren't getting in, and Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, you might have a little bit of an issue on your hands.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling that some of those names may come up, Brent. But we're gonna put our money where our mouth is, right, and talk about some of this Hall of Fame class. And picking 5 people, it's not an easy decision for sure. But Brent, I would love you hinted on 2 people that may be in yours. Would love you to take us through your class and a reason why for some of them.
Yeah, we fleshed it out a lot last week. With Bill Belichick, with Robert Kraft, absolute travesty that both of those guys, in my opinion, didn't make it in their first ballot. Did a little bit more research on it. I kind of see maybe a little bit of the reason behind it. It's still stupid that they didn't get in, but they recently changed the voting laws where you can have one coach, one senior contributor, and then 3 legacy players is what they call them. And all 5 of these, the coach, the contributor, 3 legacy players, are put into their own bucket. And you can choose 3 of the 5 from the list, but you don't have to choose 3.
Correct.
But you can choose up to 3. And each of those guys would need 80% of the vote for them to get in. Now, what I think happened is people saw Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft on the list, and they said, maybe I attribute the success of the Patriots to Bill Belichick. I'll put him in my top 3, but I won't put Robert Kraft. Or vice versa, you attribute the success to Robert Kraft and not Bill Belichick. I really think pitting those guys against each other in their own pool was the downfall and why neither of them ended up getting in, because there were just too many varying opinions in that room. And it does sound like things might change. I know they're having another meeting to talk about, the voting rules, why this even happened, because it shouldn't have happened. So maybe next year they'll change the voting structure a bit. But to make a long story short, both of those guys are in my 2027 class, Hall of Fame. So second ballot for both of those guys. But a few other guys. And 2 guys on my list that are first ballot Hall of Famers. First one, another Patriot. I think they're just going to go crazy on the Patriots since what they did last year was terrible for those fans. I have Rob Gronkowski as a first ballot Hall of Famer. 92 touchdowns in his career, third all-time on the list, 9,286 receiving yards, sixth all-time, including the most receiving yards of any tight end in the playoffs. Rob Gronkowski, 4 first-team All-Pros, and 4 Super Bowls. So I think that list alone, I think that solidifies it. One of the best tight ends of all time. Another thing you have to consider with Gronkowski is he was hurt a lot. I mean, he was hurt pretty much every season, playing through something. So he ended up missing a lot of games too, and he still put up these insane stats every year. So first ballot in my mind. The next guy on my list, Adrian Peterson. We all know his 2012 MVP season, coming off the torn ACL, coming off the torn MCL. It was a freak of nature season for that guy, and that season alone, puts him as a first ballot Hall of Famer to me. But also 120 rushing touchdowns, which was 4th all time, 5th all time in rushing yards, and the NFL single game rushing record with 296 rushing yards in a single game. That's one I probably won't see breaking in a long, long time. Because when you see a running back have a good game now, it's like 150 rushing yards, maybe some receiving yards in there as well. But crazy stuff. And then the last one on my list, he's been on the ballot a few years now. I think it's time for him to get in. He's 12th all time in career sacks, NFL record of 202 tackles for loss, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 7-time Pro Bowler, and 1-time Defensive Player of the Year. It was a key cog on that Ravens defense, that Ravens Super Bowl defense, Terrell Suggs. He's going to be an automatic finalist this year because he was in the top 7. The top 7 players, the ones that don't get into their class, are an automatic finalist the following year. I think the resume speaks for itself personally. I think he'll get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Brent, my list is pretty similar. I share 3 of the people on there with you, and Bill Belichick, Rob Gronkowski, who you can compare to the greatest tight end of all time, right? With Tony Gonzalez. It's them 2 on that statue and nobody else. I won't listen to the Travis Kelce putting them and comparing to the way that Gronk and Tony Gonzalez played. But it's definitely a 1A, 1B, and then Kelce right below that tier when it comes to just tight ends in their game. And would love to see a lot of young tight ends that we still have that hopefully we can compare. But Gronk was just a freak of nature. First of all, he used to have his own bowl game, got canceled for this upcoming year, but just an absolute force. And you said it best, Brent. AP's 2012 MVP season was absolutely nuts. If we in our lifetime see somebody run for 300 yards, why is his name Ashton Genty? We'll figure that out in the next couple years. But I took 2 separate takes from you. I actually didn't include Robert Kraft in mine. And the reason is, if he's not getting in, obviously the resume of work speaks for itself, and you're already putting 2 Patriots. It makes it hard for me to see them putting 3 in. And the other fact of when it comes to Kraft is like he's going to be an owner for a couple more years, right, with the Patriots. And you didn't put him in when he was about to compete for a Super Bowl, and then he goes and loses that Super Bowl. So I think that could have a negative connotation when you're putting year-over-year effects. But 2 guys that I really would love to see in. One is somebody that I think 100% deserves. It's just a matter of when. 14,000 receiving yards, 82 touchdowns, Super Bowl champion, 6-time Pro Bowler when it meant something, and a first-time All-Pro as well. I have Reggie Wayne, who redefined the wide receiver game for me, really. And you think about getting in the Pro Bowl at their stage of wide receivers in the AFC is absolutely disgusting with the guys that Reggie Wayne was going up to. And then I went with the legacy pick of the more I did research on him, obviously wasn't alive when he played, when he was playing as a defensive back, but 39 interceptions, 4 of those to the house. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's in the Hall of Fame all 1980s team, 5-time Pro Bowler. He's the 1980 Defensive Player of the Year and a singular All-Pro as well. I like the legacy pick that we saw in Roger Craig. I think Lester Hayes 100% deserves to be a part of this class as well. So took took two separate ways from you there, Brent, but I think that speaks volume to just how stacked this class is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I actually have 4 similarities with Brent's list. I have Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. I think we talked about that at length last week, and their accolades speak for themselves. And I just think the voters saw all the controversy this year with everything and don't want to face that pressure 2 years in a row. So I think they're going to correct their mistakes and put them both in. And then I have that third Patriot as well, Rob Gronkowski, absolutely on your Mount Rushmore of tight ends with him. Arguably the best tight end with Tony Gonzalez next to him as well. And then I think you got Antonio Gates and either Shannon Sharp or Travis Kelce on that Mount Rushmore as well. So I think Gronk, if one of the best, if not the best tight end of all time, should be first ballot for sure. And then I also have Adrian Peterson. Brent mentioned all his accolades and all his stats. The most recent non-quarterback NFL MVP. So I think that speaks for itself. And that was 14 years ago at this point. So that was a very impressive, unbelievable season from Adrian Peterson after tearing his ACL. And then I have Frank Gore. He's third in all-time rushing yards with 16,000 behind Walter Payton and Emmitt Smith, and he's ahead of Barry Sanders and Adrian Peterson. He's tied 20th in rushing touchdowns with 81. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler, never won the Super Bowl, unfortunately. He made it that 1 year with the 49ers in 2012 when they lost to the Ravens. So my ballot's a little bit weird here. You got 3 second ballots, 3 Patriots, and 2 running backs. So maybe a little unrealistic. There's a little lack of variety in it, but I think these are the guys that deserve to get in.
Yeah, Frank Gore is an interesting conversation. Like I agree that he should eventually get in for sure, but it's like it's a debate of like this guy was always good, but never like great. Like he never had like a great, fantastic season, like Adrian Peterson does, for example. But you said it, like third all time in rushing yards. I feel like that speaks for itself. It just feels like the dude never got hurt. Like he was an Iron Man at the running back position, which running backs, I mean, they get hurt all the time. Like you look at Christian McCaffrey, you look at Saquon Barkley, they have these injury-plagued seasons all the time. Frank Gore never seemed to get hurt, was a constant Iron Man, and was constantly putting up 1,000-yard seasons. You know, he had 16 seasons in the NFL. Just incredible career for Frank Gore in totality, but you don't think of him as like one of the best running backs of all time, for example. So it's an interesting discussion for sure.
Sure. Yeah, and I'd like to add the point too, like thinking about Frank Gore and Adrian Peterson. It's like these were guys where you talked about it, Brent, that Saquon and CMC and all these guys have gotten hurt so often. It's because Frank Gore and Adrian Peterson's job was to run the dang football. They didn't do trickery, screen passes. They were not getting 100 receptions in a season, let alone 500-plus yards receiving very often, right? They got the ball handed off to them, and they ran it between the tackles, and they did it very, very well. You mentioned it, Brent. Frank Gore's best season totaled 1,600 yards. That was his sophomore year in 2006. Like, we're talking a very long time ago. Had some stints in Indianapolis, a little bit in Indy, a little bit in Buffalo, Miami, like the Jets. You know, he kind of flew around at the end there, which I really think hurts when you're talking about this conversation too. But no, I completely agree. Besides today's like modern era Derrick Henry, all these running backs are versatile two-way players. They were not Frank Gore's you were not picking Frank Gore in a PPR league. You were picking him because he ran for 1,000 yards every single season.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, one name I'm not seeing on this list who is, you know, first ballot eligible next year is Ben Roethlisberger. I know he's been talked about a lot among, you know, NFL fans, NFL podcasts like ourselves, as a potential first ballot Hall of Famer. But I'm kind of glad that you guys agree with me in the fact that, you know, he's not first ballot. He did have the killer bees with him, Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, which I think boosted him up a lot.
And they're all eligible this upcoming season.
Yep. Obviously a Super Bowl champion as well. But just in comparison to like Drew Brees, who just made it in first ballot, like it's not really an argument. And honestly, like I might be a little biased here, but I really don't think he's that much better than Eli. My personal opinion. He had a lot better teams, great defenses the entire time. I just mentioned it: Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. Like Eli was never working with that. So I don't think he'll be first ballot, but I think he will get in eventually.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you mentioned Eli Manning. I think you can also put Phillip Rivers in that tier. And these three guys are just going to be like kind of waiting around. And it's just going to be the matter of who gets in first when there's a down year between those three guys. And I think that's a real conversation to have.
Rivers will for sure be the third of them to get in. But when you talk about Big Ben and Eli Manning, right? I mean, you match the two Super Bowls. They both really had interception problems through a variety of their careers. I mean, obviously, Big Ben had the 2018 season where he just went ham. He threw for 5,000 yards, but he also threw 16 interceptions at the same time. So I think it's definitely a good discussion to talk about. But compared to Drew Brees and some of these other guys, like Big Ben was a second tier in that class. Not saying he didn't accomplish a lot and is a Pittsburgh hero and whatnot. But if you wanted to talk about Belichick and his controversy, right, you have to give that same respect to Big Ben. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you there, and that was one of the points that I forgot to bring up is like, you know, if you're going to bring up Belichick with Spygate, you're going to bring up Robert Kraft with his massage parlors, and you're going to bring up Ben Roethlisberger with his allegations early in his career. Like, if that's something that they really take into consideration in the Hall of Fame committee, and it looks like in previous evidence that they are considering this, I think it's something that they might take into consideration again. So we'll see how it plays out. I think he'll get in, but I think it's going to be like 4 or 5 years down the line. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I love the discussion talking about, we're already chatting about 2027. When 2026, obviously, when they do the Hall of Fame game, they'll be inducted officially into the Hall of Fame, which is pretty cool to see people pick their people of who gets to actually honor them in the induction. So very excited to see what Luke Kuechly does for that. Guys, I wanted to try something new here today. We obviously have a lot of live and open debate, but we never really pinpoint questions. We kind of just throw them at each other, and I love that. But I saw that, I think it was either ESPN or NFL Network, but they had a full segment about a conversation, and I just saw these people going at each other, and I'm like, I think we could go at each other with something like this. So it's actually going to be a ticker that I'm going to read for you, but we're introducing a new segment called Joe's Question of the Podcast, and it's not open to just Brent and Braden. I will give feedback as well as you fans in the comments, but it is which NFL team that finished last in their division is most likely to finish first this year. Between those teams, you have in the AFC East, the New York Jets, the AFC North Cleveland Browns, the AFC South Tennessee Titans, the AFC West Las Vegas Raiders, your New York Football Giants representing the NFC East, the 9-8 Detroit Lions in the NFC North, Tyler Shuck and the Saints in the South, and the Arizona Dirty Bird Cardinals in the NFC West. I feel like there's obvious answers, but I feel like now may be a time to take a stand. So whoever would like to open up you don't have to give your pick right away, but let's open it up for conversation.
Yeah, I'll go first because I'm going to go ahead and probably do the one that, you know, most people are going to pick, and I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions. I know that division is tough, especially with the Packers and the Bears having really, really solid seasons. And, you know, the Packers, they lost Micah Parsons late in the year. They probably could have had a better record than they did, honestly. The Bears, Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams look like they're here to stay. They had really, really promising seasons. But the Lions are still loaded across the board. They have Aiden Hutchinson on defense, Brian Branch on defense, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jameson Williams. These guys aren't going away. I still think they have one of the most talented rosters in the NFL in its entirety. And I think they could contend for the NFC once again this year, just like I thought they would this year. So I'm going to pick the Lions.
Yeah, Brent, this might be a shock, but I'm gonna jump on your Giants. I think it's an interesting year for the NFC East. The Eagles won back-to-back for the first time in 20 years and then collapsed in the playoffs. I think there's a lot of question marks surrounding the Eagles this year with guys like Jalen Hurts, Jalen Carter, and A.J. Brown, and even the coaching situation. Vic Fangio nearly retired, so I don't know if his heart is still really in the game. And then the new offensive coordinator and everything like that is going to be something to figure out as well. For the Cowboys and the Commanders struggled last year, even when Jaden Daniels was healthy. They have a massively older roster, which tends to wear down on teams over time. And for the Cowboys, they've been struggling for the past couple of years as well. Dak was healthy last year and still were unable to win football games, mostly because of their defense. Dak played well. But for the Giants, they have a young core, young quarterback, Jackson Dart, young running back, Cam Scadaboo, and Malik Neighbors coming back from injury. And the defensive line is one of the best in the sport. So I think there's a couple holes to fill for you guys in the offseason, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, not on that defensive line. But if you can answer those needs, I think you have a great shot of winning that division.
Yeah, it'd certainly make me happy as a Giants fan, considering our last NFC East championship was 2011. That was the last time we won the division, which was 15 years ago now. So it's been a long, long time coming. Something I would definitely, appreciate if we could get back into that conversation. But to make a long story short, it's going to fall in the hands of Jackson Dart all day long. Is this guy the real deal? If he is, we could compete for it. I think we could. The roster is good enough around him where I think we could. But you have to hope that you see glimpses of what you saw this past year in his rookie season, and that he doesn't fall into that sophomore slump like we see a lot of guys fall into. So I hope you're right, Braden. I hope you're right.
And we didn't even mention John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh.
Who's that guy? That's funny. I was tempted, Braden, to pick the Giants myself, but I came in here saying that, Braden, you fell on the sword picking against your Birds. I'm going to fall on the sword and pick against the Panthers. I think about the New Orleans Saints as such a gritty team when it comes to that. And in the NFC South, where it's anybody's ball game, it has been for years and years, and it will continue to be. There's been shakeups with the Falcons getting Stefanski. Dave Canales hires somebody to come in and basically be an OC. So a lot of changes for Bryce Young again coming. And then Todd Bowles is getting fired this season in Tampa Bay. So, you put those cards together, you can only ride Baker Mayfield and 85-year-old grandpa Mike Evans, right? So you can't keep that trend going forever. But the Saints team is gritty. They're young, and they have a veteran presence on defense. I feel like we talk about Cameron Jordan every single year, that he just disrupts the line. We saw a resurgence in Chase Young in that line this year, right? But just so many great pieces, and Carl Granderson, Demario Davis, Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's a name that just keeps going under the radar, is a very quietly great corner. And Justin Reed and Julian Blackmon play incredible in the secondary and make it difficult to win. And you saw the Panthers win the division and lose to this team twice. They were essentially right there in the conversation. But I'll say what people are saying and what they're not saying is that Tyler Shuck is one tough cookie. Besides if he's sliding and then he pretends to die, but that's neither here nor there. I think he's got a lot of very valuable pieces. I'm not saying he's the franchise quarterback, but he plays with a grit and a toughness that you need to win in a division where you're going to win 9 games and win it. Alvin Kamara was nowhere near anywhere this program last season. If you can combine him, Kendre Miller, and Devin Neal together, that's a problem with a triple-headed backfield. And then you always say the name Chris Olave, who quietly, before getting hurt last year, was a top 5 wide receiver in football. It doesn't have to do just with the Saints of their team talent per se. It has to do with the fact that it's talking about going worst to first in the division. And in the NFC South, that's probably more likely than anywhere else when you put all those factors together. So I think there's a lot of controversy and a lot of change happening in the NFC South, and the Saints were the one team that stayed solid this offseason. So Hopefully, I hope I'm incorrect, but unfortunately, I don't think I will be.
Another sneaky one on that list. I'm not going to talk too long about them just because I already gave my team, but I feel like the Titans could make a big push this year. I don't think they're going to get first because that division is tough with the Jags and the Texans. But I really like what they did with the coaching staff, bringing in Rob Saleh, bringing in Brian Dable as the OC. They have some of the most cap space in the NFL. I think they're actually number one in cap space. So I think they're going to make some huge expenditures there, especially while Cam Ward is on the rookie deal. I could see them making a push in that division as well.
Yeah, Brent, that was my honorable mention as well. That division always has some shakeups. Last year, before Daniel Jones' injury, the Colts were top of that division, and I don't think anybody expected that going into the season. C.J. Stroud looked, unfortunately, very bad towards the end of that season for the Texans. And though the Jaguars finished on fire, I think this division always has some shakeups, and that could be a possibility.
I think to finish out this topic, like when I thought about my dark horse candidate for this, it's like if Fernando Mendoza plays 78% of the way he did at Indiana and Clint Kubiak can ignite this young quarterback with Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers. I know the O-line's awful. I know the defense is terrible. But if you're scoring 40 points a game, it doesn't matter how bad your defense is typically, as long as your quarterback doesn't die. And we saw that Fernando Mendoza is, again, one tough cookie, right? So that's my dark horse too, especially with the Chiefs are in shambles for some reason. I fully expect Mahomes and company to be back and better. You can never tell if the Chargers say they're going to win the Super Bowl, they're not going to make the playoffs. That's how it feels like they are year in year. And Bo Nix is a huge question mark for Denver going into next season. Obviously, you expect him to be back and healthy through the midst of the season, right? But an ACL is tricky to come back from. So,
yeah, I mean, like on paper, that division is extremely tough. But it's what we said about the NFC North this past year with the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, who, we didn't know J.J. McCarthy was going to be absolute crap, for lack of a better word.
We did. We watched every podcast that he was in college and me talking smack.
We did. But I'd say like the national media as a whole probably didn't predict that. But you look at the Bears, like they did this last year. They went from worst to first. We would not have expected that going into the year. I don't think any of us picked them to win that division. So it does happen to unlikely teams all the time. So that's one of the great things about the NFL is the parity that comes with it. Whereas, in college you get some of that, but you don't usually get it to the degree you get it in the NFL.
Yeah, Joe, it's a great question. It happens every year, so it was really fun to talk about.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the accolades, Braden. I love how at the start of this podcast I said we can't talk about football. We just spent the last 28 minutes and 48 seconds talking about football.
With no games to preview or recap.
Hey, we have to keep ourselves busy, and people out there are feeding for two things. They're feeding for NFL offseason talk and NBA All-Star Weekend recaps. That's what they want. Hey, we're a sports outlet show. We're not the NFL outlet show. All right? We got to talk about it. I didn't say it had to be long. Was I the only one? Maybe I don't watch the NBA often, but am I the only one that didn't even know this style of tournament was happening this year?
I knew about it, but I still didn't watch it. Sorry, boys. Sorry.
Well, can we talk about the fact of, first of all, love the stars and stripes and Team World. The jerseys were fire. We can get that out of the way right now. But when you look at the presence of the All-Star Weekend, right, NHL used to have very similar things. They saved it with the Four Nations last season. It feels like that's what they were trying to do here in the NBA. I don't think it flopped. Apparently, a lot of people liked it being revitalized. But Team World went 0-2, and they definitely had the best roster. So maybe it goes to show when you're playing 12 minutes of basketball instead of 48 that it matters if you know how to communicate with your team. And pass the ball is what I've seen. And Kawhi Leonard went absolutely ham in the first game. He put up like 31 points of their 40. It was disgusting.
Shout out. He wasn't even originally supposed to be there. He came in as an alternate and just showed out.
So good for him. Good for him. But I mean, I watched all the highlights of it. I didn't fully watch it day of. I did have the dunk contest on, so I can speak a little bit more to that. But honestly, I don't watch the NBA. It's why we don't talk about it often. It bores me, to be honest, so I can't get energized about it. But when you talk about trying to save All-Star Weekend, I think the NBA took and Adam Silver needs a correct head nod. They did this in the right direction, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also shout out Victor Wembanyama. This guy forgot it was an All-Star game. He was playing like it was the NBA Finals. He was coming out on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively.
And then we talk about the dunk contest. Obviously, Mac McClung was not there. He got offered, declined. Had some crazy dunks and whatnot. Keishad Johnson, the Miami Heat forward, took the crown for the dunk contest. And if you guys saw his best dunk, it was coming from the baseline at the corner three. He did something where he bounced it between the legs and dunked it, and he won the dunk competition. It was a yawn.
Another event that's fallen from grace since the Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine year.
This is the best part of All-Star Weekend. And on one of the dunks, I can't name the name of who it was. If you watch it, he literally walked up and dunked the ball for his attempt.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yawn. This should be the only thing worth watching of this weekend. People used to jump over cars.
I was just about to say that. Didn't they used to jump over cars? Like, come on.
I don't get it, man. We've lost the love of the game.
I'm going to reserve my take.
Here's a name you know, Brent. The 3-point contest went well. I'll say that. Damian Lillard beat Devin Booker 29-27 in the final round. But that's not even the biggest news. Steph Curry confirmed he's coming back for 2027. So maybe you can tune in next year.
Yeah, I heard he was going to try to bring over Klay Thompson as well. So, get the Splash Brothers back together.
Super Mario Brothers.
Maybe I'll take a peek at that one. Take a peek.
They're still not Dame, though. They're still not beating Dame. 3-time winner. Hasn't played a minute all season and still came out and won the 3-point contest.
Wow.
What a loser.
I don't understand the NBA.
Is he hurt?
He has been, yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. I was going to say that doesn't make sense that he hasn't played at all.
It's okay. Guys, we have a ton to talk about the men's and women's hockey teams repping the red, white, and blue. But before that, guys, what do you think's about to happen? Let's poll the room. Let's poll the room. Braden, if you thought any event was happening right now, what would it be?
I think it'd have to be what some consider our best segment.
Chris's Sports Fact of the podcast? We haven't had that in a millennial.
Yeah.
Chris. Could you imagine if he just jumped on the screen?
That would be fire.
We'll get him back. Well, Braden, you're right. It is the best part of the podcast. It is the blind top 10. And I know last week we talked about Reese's flavored things, right? Well, I know we've also done childhood snacks before. But this thing kind of gets its own little brand and take in the special place of people's hearts. For this, you have childhood cereals for the top 10.
I wonder if he's going to throw some crazy ones at us.
Yeah.
But I think we got to think that he's going to go with most of the OGs.
I think so too. We need some redemption after last week. That wasn't our best performance.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys showed up to work today. That was awful.
We've been hot, cold. So maybe we'll just continue the streak here. Childhood cereals. We're back to hot.
Childhood cereals. Here we go. Let's see. Last week, Braden went second. So, Braden, you're first today.
Correct. Well done.
Thank you. You do get one hint, and because I felt like it was unfair to viewership out there, Reese's Puffs is not on this list because it was talked about last week.
Fair enough.
But if it was not, it's 100% on this list. For viewership out there, there's your hint. Mr. Braden Michael Wilkins, are you ready for top 10?
I'm so ready.
At number 1, they say that you can have this with or without milk, and it makes it a power play player. You have Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
This was a big one in my childhood. I love me some Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It was definitely one of my top 5. Just where do I put it? How do I feel about some of the other ones that are coming? I think it's top 3 for me. I'm going to go number 3.
If it was me, I'd be putting it at 1. That was my favorite, though.
That's fair.
My favorite cereal.
And Joe, you're right. It can be eaten with or without milk, which is a good thing.
Out of the dude, here's my thing, and Brent, I'd have to relook over the list fully, but it wasn't even about eating it. It was about drinking the milk when it was over. And I hated milk as a kid. Ask Mama Wags. I hated milk as a child, but I would drink that like it was a Slurp juice on Fortnite. I'm putting it on the grocery list. At number 2, this one may not be as popular, but it is a really big good one if you like sweet cereal. There's a wolf on the box. You got the Cookie Crisp.
I like me some Cookie Crisp. I remember having that back in the day. Definitely not top tier. Probably not top tier. It is good though. I mean, it's fine. It's a fine cereal. But is it top 5? Probably not. I'm gonna go with 6.
6 for Cookie Crisp.
Good commercials too.
Oh yeah.
I hear screaming downstairs from the cereal list.
Cookie Crisp.
Brent, be afraid. At number 3, Tony the Tiger likes to say they're great, but are they? You got Frosted Flakes.
I do like some Frosted Flakes. I feel like that and Cinnamon Toast Crunch are pretty comparable for me. They just have similar vibes. But with the Frosted Flakes, you're getting obviously the frosted part of it. It's a little different, a different type of sweetness. I think it is top 5 for me, but I think I'm gonna go. No, we'll put it at 2. Put it at 2.
That's a wild take.
No, I like that, Braden. You want to talk about good milk to drink after cereal too?
Yes.
Frosted Flakes, top tier milk.
Absolutely.
To drink after the cereal.
I know it's not. There's not a honey flavor with the Frosted Flakes, but it tastes like you're just drinking straight honey.
This is rough.
So
this is rough.
Okay,
I'll stay out of it till it's done. I'll stay out of it till it's done.
Cereal's controversial, bro. This list is going to be different for everybody. I'm telling you.
It's almost like the whole reason for this list is to cause controversy. So maybe even if you're doing bad, you're doing good.
I think we're doing great.
Let's stop hating on people. It's all love. We need to bring more people on to do this and have Brent and Braden judge them live. And by 2 people, I mean 2 people in the comment section every week when we do this. We'll figure out a topic for you and have you on here. At number 4, they're magically delicious. You got the Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms is another one. And if they did something about those brown pieces, dude, it'd be better. It'd be better. They're not terrible, the brown pieces. The marshmallows, though. That's why they made one that was just the marshmallows, which I still haven't had. Because
how is that a cereal?
It's not. That's a dessert probably, but they made it. And the Fruity Pebbles Lucky Charms, is that what it was? Yeah.
Yes.
Fruity Pebbles, those were good.
Braden introduced us to that and changed our life.
Fruity
Pebble Lucky Lucky Charms.
Landon did.
Yes, he did.
Yes, thank you, Landon. Thank you.
Landon made sure that we always had at least 4 boxes of the Fruity Pebbles Lucky Charms at Braden's house. So thank you, Landon.
Saved my life.
But we're talking about the regular Lucky Charms here. The brown pieces decreases it a little bit for me, but still a top 5 cereal. I'm going right at number 5, Lucky Charms.
I'm into it.
Well,
I'm into it.
Braden, there's no reason to delay the inevitable. At number 5, you have Fruity Pebbles.
Put it at 1. Put it at 1, baby. If it was marshmallows, it would be like ascended above 1. But
Round of applause. Round of applause for Braden.
we love the Fruity Pebbles in this house.
Fruity Pebbles at 1 has saved this list. You've done well.
This list is awesome so far.
Yeah, you're tripping, Joe.
If you walk into my house this weekend with a box of Frosted Flakes, I'm going to send Tony the Tiger to punch you.
I'm doing it, but Tony's going to punch you.
When's the last
You're
time
the
you
one
had
crapping on
Me?
him. Yeah, you're the one crapping on him.
No, I'm not crapping on him. I'm crapping on his tasteless cereal.
Joe, when's the
He's
last
gonna
time you
appreciate
had
that.
it?
Frosted Flakes, that's probably the most recent cereal I've ever had, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah.
It's good.
I like it, but it's not top 5. Not childhood. I would have thrown that in your face.
All
Tony's
right,
gonna
maybe
go
not
get
as
you.
a child.
We'll get to
Tony's
it.
going to get you.
No, he's not. At number 6, you probably didn't know this is a cereal, but it is. It's most commonly known as a yogurt. You have Trix.
Yeah, this is not good. Not a good cereal. I'll be honest. You think like you see Fruity Pebbles, you see Trix, you're like, oh, that's probably like almost the same cereal. It's not. It's not at all. It's not even that good, man. I just have a feeling that like I'm worried that Joe's gonna throw some like Raisin Bran at us or some crap, and that's really gonna mess us up. Like Cheerios. I'm not a big fan of Cheerios. I know a lot of people like Cheerios. Mm-hmm. Where do I go? You know what? It's terrible. I'm putting it at 10. It's terrible.
Tricks are for kids.
Maddie's going 4.
I could hear that over here in Christiansburg.
I thought I was about to get hit with a golf ball or something. 4. Like, no, it's not. It's terrible.
Tricks are for kids.
You've done good. You've done good. At number 7, Braden, these may be more known for their hilarious commercials than the actual food itself. But you got the 2 best buds. You got Apples and Jack.
Apple Jacks are good, but they're not top tier. I think there's some other very similar cereals that take it over the top. But as Brent mentioned, I think there's some lower tier ones than even that. So I'm going to put it at 7.
All right.
I respect that, Braden. I don't like it that much either.
At number 8, you have to listen to the specifics of this one. At number 8, you have Captain Crunch with berries. It's not just the yellow stuff. You got the berries involved.
See, I don't think this is one I ate that often. I'll be honest.
It was always in the Wagner house.
And it's probably going to get a lower ranking just because I haven't. I don't know how much Braden has eaten this one either, but it's probably something like I'd enjoy. I just didn't eat it that often. I'm going to go 8.
It's fine. I'm a big fan of the Crunch. I'm a big fan of the Captain. That's fine. I don't blame you.
I
still think there's
a huge
there's
fan
a top
of
tier
the
one.
Captain Crunch. You still
Sorry.
think what, Bray?
I still think there could be one that's better though. So we'll see.
Well, at number 9, it has been mentioned. You have Cheerios. There is that one on here.
Cheerios, the plain ones, not my favorite. If it was Honey Nut Cheerios, it might go at 4. I did love some Honey Nut Cheerios, but it's not, so it's going to go at 9.
Yeah, regular Cheerios are disgusting. I probably would have put that at 10. I don't know if I've had the Honey Nut.
I'm curious if you all know what's coming at 4.
I don't know. I'm thinking like maybe some Fruit Loops,
Ooh.
maybe maybe some special K, which would have to go lower, but
Maybe some chocolate crave cereal.
ooh, interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Maybe some Raisin Bran.
Well,
Oh no,
okay.
that'd be a disaster.
I feel like there's two iconic ones left. I'm honestly surprised both didn't make the list, and that's Braden already mentioned Fruit Loops. That's iconic. The other one, Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, baby.
True.
Come on,
Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs.
that's iconic.
Well, it is Fruit Loops.
Okay,
Okay.
I like that.
I would shift my Captain Crunch up to I think number 4, and then slide everything down, and then I'm perfectly happy with it. This is a good list.
For me, this is like really my list. Like this is my 1 through 10. So I mean, I'm happy with it, but I know Maddie's not going to be. Kelby's sounding off in the comments. So
Hey, one in the comments, one in the earbuds.
yeah. Yep.
Brent,
They're
I'm
they're
glad we
keeping
have
us
similar-
honest. They're keeping us honest.
I'm glad we have similar cereal tastes, so we're happy. As long as we're happy, it doesn't matter.
You
Yeah.
don't know one thing about marriage, Braden.
My fault.
It's okay. Hey, Brent, can I bring Frosted Flakes to the wedding?
You can.
Okay.
I enjoy some Frosted Flakes.
And
You did mention Crave cereal. That was
Crave is good.
That was really good, dude. Really solid cereal. Did you like the all chocolate ones, or did you like the yellow with the chocolate inside?
I liked the yellow with the chocolate inside
I
because it
agree.
would get nice and soggy and then nice and chocolatey when you ate it.
That was like the one cereal that's like better soggy, I feel like.
Where's that Count Chocula and Boo Berry?
Count Chocula was solid too. It's a good cereal.
I don't think I've ever eaten Count Chocula, or I thought about the Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but honestly, again, only the commercials. Like, I don't think I ever ate that one.
We need to do a blind top 10 of the cereal milk, because like that's another one. That the Cocoa Puffs, man.
Mhm.
That chocolate milk after.
It's just chocolate milk. It's just chocolate milk.
They want me to. You want me to throw up a blind top 10 childhood cereals milk tasting?
Yes. I think we could get 10 on there for sure. Reese Puffs wasn't on the list. That's another good one.
You're just naming cereals.
The milk. It's the milk, dude.
When it is 2085 and we've run out of every blind top 10 to do, we can do that.
I'm putting it on the calendar.
Put it on the calendar for February 18th, 2075. Do it.
All right, I just added it.
We're
I
making
agree,
a
David.
comeback.
Captain Crunch does need to be higher, but other than that, I'm happy.
David Barry's here? Wow.
I'm sorry,
We have the whole crew.
We do.
I
We do.
just, that's not one I ate as a kid. I don't know if I've ever had it.
It's fire. It's fire. You gotta try.
I think on your next grocery run to Martin's over there, you go get yourself some Captain Crunch.
With the berries, though. Like
I'll
the
be
base
honest.
cereal
Yeah.
is good,
And
but the
be
berries make
prepared
it.
for the top of your mouth to bleed.
That's true. That's true. It is
Boys,
true.
I'll be honest, and this might like surprise some people. I don't think I've had cereal in like 5 years.
I think
Wow.
it's been a while for me too.
It's been a long time.
That's all we got for the blind top 10. Thanks for hanging out with us here for 20 minutes. We'll see you next week, same time here. Actually, not same time. I'm not going to lie to you. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard is our typical time. So around 7:30-ish is typically your blind top 10. We're going to talk about men's and women's Olympic hockey for the rest of the way. So if you don't like that, I'd like to say there's the door, but you can hit your refresh button, back button. You could just close the computer, turn off the TV, change it to something else. But go get yourself some Captain Crunch because we're about to talk about Team USA. So for all of you that came for the fun part, we'll see you next week. Back to the podium pressure of Olympic hockey. Guys, I know we're chatting, the next couple of days of the Olympics is massive for not just the Olympics in general, but the main event of ice hockey. We're going to start with our women's team's hockey final gold medal rematch. USA versus Canada happening tomorrow at 1:10, smack in the middle of your workday. Take your lunch break and go support Team USA. But Brent, walk me through a little bit about this Team USA and this historic run that they're just pummeling everybody in their path.
Yeah, we touched on it a good bit last podcast, but this USA team is one of the best women's hockey teams we've seen maybe ever. It's on a generational elite run, consistently battling year after year with Canada for global supremacy. I feel like it shakes that way in both men's and women's. It's always USA versus Canada. But a little background, a little history. The USA women's first Olympic appearance was 1998 when women's hockey debuted. They have 1 gold medal during that time. That's kind of surprising, considering especially how good they are this year. They have 3 silver medals during that time. But that's still good enough to make them one of the more decorated teams in women's hockey. Like I said, just started in 1998. But they won their first gold by defeating Canada in 2018 in a dramatic shootout. The last Olympics was the 2022 where they ranked silver, losing to Canada there. But this 2026 team is just outstanding. They're the favorites to win it all. They opened the tournament with a 5-1 win versus the Czech Republic, 5-0 rout of Finland with a historic performance. And then the big one on the cake, 5-0 win over Canada, as we're going to be previewing in this matchup. But we haven't seen Canada get shut out like that in Olympic hockey pretty much ever. So it was very surprising. The top player on this team is Hillary Knight, their captain, legendary U.S. forward, competing in her 5th Olympic Games, the most by any U.S. hockey player ever. That's both men's and women's. Tied the U.S. Olympic goal scoring record with 14 this Olympics and has multiple Olympic medals. As mentioned, she was on that 2018 gold squad. So just outstanding stuff from her. But, I feel like the big key in this game is that USA has already beat Canada. And they beat them in dramatic, honestly embarrassing fashion for the Canadian teams. We hate the Canadians up there in Canada. Bitter rivals. But I think Canada is going to take that on the cheek a little bit. They're gonna be a little upset about the way it played out last time. I think it's going to be a lot closer in this matchup. But I can't go against USA, man. USA all the way. They're taking home gold. First time since 2018. Bring it home, baby.
Wow. I feel patriotic just from that. Braden has to be the bad guy and talk about that team up north. Braden, tell me why you want them to beat us.
I will not say that, but I will break them down a little bit. They have 1 gold in 5 of the last 6 Winter Olympics, which is kind of crazy. That is pretty dominant for them, so we'll give them props there a little bit, because the last time they won silver was back in 2018, 2 Olympics ago in Pyeongchang. As Brent mentioned, they lost the United States 3-2 in overtime. So we got one recently. We did lose the most recent one, we as in the USA. But Canada's heading to their 7th straight gold medal match, which is also insane. In the quarterfinal, they dominated Germany 5-1. In the semifinal, they had some troubles against Switzerland, but it came out on top 2-1. They've been dominant. This is a really good hockey team. But as Brent mentioned, they lost earlier in this tournament. Pretty bad to their finals competition. So keep that in mind.
I think losing pretty bad doesn't even sniff the surface of what you're trying to say. But I'll say this before we get into predictions. Brent touched on it. Captain Hillary Knight. No one's been to more Olympics than her, right? With 5 of them. Is one still, we talked about it from the opening match, second match, still 1 goal away from U.S. women's Olympic history of most goals scored. Could you imagine a better way than to score that goal against Canada in the gold medal match, and your final swan song is winning a gold in Italy? I think that's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be the game winner. Play free bird. Time for America. Who are we talking about up north? We didn't invent hockey, but we're sure going to kick your tail in it. Give me the United States of America 5-1 in a stomping, and this historic run continues to rewrite history.
Yeah, I mean, I broke it down a little bit. I already said USA is going to win. You know, we got to go USA, baby. We're not going to go against USA on this pod, especially with this women's team that's been historic this run. Despite the fact that they have had this incredible run, as we mentioned, 31-1 in their previous games combined. So that run in itself is special. But you know, Canada's still a really, really good team, as Braden highlighted. I think they're going to be embarrassed from that last matchup. I think it's going to be a lot closer in this one. But USA still wins, baby. 2-1, baby.
Yeah, I may have broken down Canada, but they ain't winning. It's just not happening. This women's hockey team is just going on an absolute tear, embarrassing opponents and having no regard for human life. I think that's going to continue. It's not going to be 5-0. In fact, Canada's going to get one on the board, but it's going to be 3-1. We're still beating them by 2 goals.
And 2 is the only thing they're going to be seeing on their medals, Braden. Just that silver level. Is it treason to pick against your country in a game like this? Even if you think – I don't think we're going to lose, but even if you think you were going to lose.
It might be.
Okay. Remind me of that when we get to the World Cup.
There we go.
Remind me of that. Quick rapid fire here for men's hockey bracket. Obviously, we saw quarterfinals happen today. We're going to break down each one of those. But Canada went 3-0, as did USA in men's hockey. They got the 1 and 2 seed. It set up the potential gold match. Both are, spoiler alert, if you don't know this already, I don't know how you don't. Spoiler alert, they're both playing in the semifinals on Friday. And we'll chat through those 2 matchups as well. But running through play first, Slovakia, the only game to not go into overtime, just disrupted and beat down Germany 6-2. They took a 4-0 lead in the second period and never looked back. Reganda, Kellerman, Akulia, Dvorsky, Reganda, and Tatar all netting goals for Slovakia to win this one in a beatdown fashion. You go to the next one. I have to somber my tone a little bit, and I think we might discuss this topic a little bit, talking about Canada sneaking past, is it Czechia? I don't know how to say it. I'm going to be honest.
Yes.
I just default to Czech Republic because I
do
don't say
too.
Czechia. I don't say that.
It's Czechia.
Well, anyways, Czechia loses 3-4 in overtime. Canada tied it up 3-3 from Nick Suzuki with 4 minutes to go. Funny enough, the guy that plays for the Canadians tied it up for Team Canada. And then Mitch Marner scores the overtime goal, the Golden Knight, to secure this win just a minute into overtime. But now a huge question is being posed, and not just as a Penguins fan, but Sidney Crosby got obliterated. I'm not sure if you guys have watched the videos. If you haven't, you need to watch them. Not only were the hits disgusting, it came from a former Flyer player, shocker, right, from Philadelphia doing that crap. But one hit, he got absolutely destroyed just going through the ice. The second one, he gets collapsed and hit, and you see that knee take a twist. The MCL is the fear. He is taking an MRI. We haven't heard anything since this happened this morning. But it reminds people, especially, I'm going to talk as a Penguins fan for a minute, of how hot the Penguins have been going into the Olympic break. Second in the Metro, second and third in the Metro right there. They're battling with the Islanders, right? Could you imagine losing your captain to the Olympics? And I understand that repping your country will always mean more than playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but boy, are we remembering why the NHL wasn't sending players overseas.
Yeah. And if I'm researching this right, the guy you're mentioning is Radko Gudas, which, if that's true, that man is an asshole. We're trying to keep it PG, but straight A asshole. And he was on the Caps for a while. He was on the Caps for like 1 or 2 years. But the dude is no fun to play against. I think most recently on the Flyers as well. Has even gotten in fights with his former Caps teammates while he's been on the Flyers. So that shows you what type of guy he is. But yeah, he's no fun to play against.
He plays on the Ducks, and some of the tweets I instantly saw is they are lucky for two things. One, they're lucky that Tom Wilson didn't beat the crap out of him, which I would have loved to see.
He did beat the crap out of somebody else, but yeah.
Correct. Which I would have loved to see after all the years of watching him murder my people. And secondly, of the fact of he is very lucky they don't play the Penguins again this year, because the gloves would have been dropped immediately when he got back to Pittsburgh.
As they should be. You can't do that, especially in a. I know these guys are going all out for their country, but NHL is what they're paid to do, and Sidney Crosby wants to be on the ice more than anybody. The Penguins are good this year. They need him. You don't want to see that. Not in the Olympics. You don't want to see that.
It breaks your heart, and now you're holding your breath, as is, not just the Pittsburgh Penguins, but all the NHL behind Sidney Crosby and an entire nation in Canada. And as an American, I don't want to go play Canada, if we get there, of course, in a gold medal match without Sidney Crosby on the ice, because if we're going to go win it, it's going to be the one day I don't like that man, is when he's repping a Canadian flag on his chest. So very, very tempting to see that news. Praying that it's the best, but Sidney Crosby, if there's a flat out millimeter chance that he can play, he's going to be out there come Friday for sure. So changing it over again, still overviewing the semifinal matches. Finland and Switzerland was the second of three games to go to overtime 3-2. Finland was down 2-0 with just 6 minutes to go. Carolina Hurricanes Sebastian Aho took over with 6 minutes left and scored, and then Miro Jeskinen actually scored with just a minute left to go to send it to overtime. And then the young lad, Arturi Lehkonen, the Avalanche forward, scores his second goal of the Olympics. And Finland over Switzerland is going to get to play Canada here on Friday as well. And then finally, the United States of America escapes terror against Sweden. And Sweden being number 7, first of all, I want to say is wild, because this should have been a semifinal matchup. So I understand people, if you don't understand hockey, and some of the people that were on this team, like Erik Karlsson, I could name Raquel, another Penguin, several others with Jacob Markstrom having an incredible game. There are a lot of Swedish players that are really Mika Zibanejad, right? So there are a ton of great Swedish talent, but Quinn Hughes, the Canucks forward, scores the OT winner to escape Sweden's late third period goal from Zibanejad. Connor Hellebuck had a hell of a game, as Mike Tirico said. 28 saves on 29 shots. Jacob Markstrom, the Swedish goalie, 38 saves on 40 shots. And two things that we're going to talk about. One, how heartbreaking it would have been to lose this in overtime. And two, the fact it's 3-on-3 for 10 minutes and then a shootout in the Olympics. That is an awful overtime rule.
I don't know. Skip Bayless is a fan, so it has to be good.
You just proved my point.
He has the best takes.
Yeah.
Him and Colin Coward.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine? I mean, we've seen it before when TJ Oshie scored 75 times in a single shootout, right? But could you imagine going for gold down to a shootout?
That would suck.
Got to be good at it. Hey, TJ Oshie, one of the best all-time shootouts.
Yes, he is. He's not there to help us.
I know. It would be tough for sure, especially with the talent Canada has. But, you highlighted this matchup very well, Joe. There's only 3 teams in the Olympics that have their entire squad as NHL players. It's Canada, the USA, and it's Sweden. So the fact that Sweden was a 7 seed is mind-boggling to me. Like they're not even on the same stratosphere as Czechia, as we're going to talk about, Switzerland. Finland actually has 24 players. They would have had a full roster if Barkov wasn't injured, their captain. But these were the top 3 teams: Canada, USA, and Sweden. So it's it's tough for Sweden going against the USA in the quarterfinal. They almost got it done. They were close. I was on the edge of my seat there for the end of the third into overtime. But can't beat the USA, baby.
Hey man, anything can happen on a 3-on-3 overtime hockey. It doesn't matter who's on that roster. We've seen it before, but quickly here, we've got the two semifinal matchups, one at 10:40 on Friday, the other at 3:10, which the U.S. has played every single game at 3:10 so far. So very, very intriguing for that. But we have Canada, we have Finland. Brent, I'm glad you talked about it, talking about Finland not having an entire full roster, right, of NHL players. But, I mean, it's Team Canada. I feel like we've given a lot of background to both of these rosters a little bit already in the path for them to get here. Canada and U.S., the only two teams that have not dropped a game yet in Italy, with zeros on the right side of their scores there. Honestly, I think it'll be a bit of a fight, but, I like Canada in this one. I like them 4-2.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Joe. Canada, they're going to be tough to beat. I mean, they were tough to beat last year. As David he mentioned in the comments, there it is. Tough to beat a team twice. I think the eventual gold match will be Canada and USA. So it's going to be interesting. The history that those teams have going back to last year. But Canada is top tier in terms of their roster. I mean, they have Nathan McKinnon. They have Cale Makar, Macklin Celebrini, who is a 19-year-old stud. Like, the dude is just freaking out of this world. Sidney Crosby when healthy. It's just a stacked roster. I didn't even mention Connor McDavid, who's the best player in hockey. So it's tough to look at that roster and think, like, how are they not going to win gold? I think they have this one pretty easily. I'm gonna go Canada 6, Finland 1.
Yeah, you didn't even say Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you guys there. Great slate of quarterfinal games, by the way. You mentioned 3 overtime games. I don't think it's going to be so here in the semifinals, at least for this game. I have Canada winning 4 to Finland's 1.
I don't disagree with him. U.S. men's hockey semifinal number 2 over here. I realized that I put U.S. in front of the last one too, but who cares? Number 2, USA versus number 3, Slovakia on Friday, 3:10 Eastern Standard Time, like we talked about. Not a ton of NHL talent on this roster, for sure. So the U.S. will have a little bit of an easier matchup, but they play like they have a ton of it. That one is for sure, and a lot of international players. And sometimes that's an advantage. Just because they don't play in the NHL does not mean they don't have the talent of an NHL caliber player. I think this one's going to be tricky. I think it's going to be close. USA prevails. Give me Canada. I want them 3-2.
Yeah. Slovakia, they're a sneaky team. They've actually impressed in a lot of their matchups so far this year. They do have a capital on their team, Martin Ferivari, who I'm partial to. He's their alternate captain, which he's not an alternate captain on the Caps. And honestly, he's probably not even in our best 8 players. So that goes to show you the level of disparity there. But they're playing really, really tough. As Joe mentioned, they have a lot of international players, which don't sleep on that international hockey. It's still really good. It's not the NHL, but it's still really good. USA should not sleep in this matchup. It's still going to be tough. Maybe not as tough as Sweden, but they need to play guns a-blazing. I think they will. I think they're going to win 4-2.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think this game, or today, the United States proved that they can play in tight games and win facing adversity, despite being dominant for most of the tournament prior to today. I do think this game is going to be close for the first 2 periods. I think this United States team is tough as nails, and we're going to break through in the 3rd period and win it 3-1.
When you have the talent of the U.S., typically you play the long game, so I like to take Braden. USA and men's hockey, is going for gold for the first time. Who knows since when? Who knows when's the last time it happened? You know the movie.
Is that the last time?
That's crazy.
It's the last time was in 1980, as they call it, the Miracle on Ice. If you haven't seen the movie, go see it.
There's a new Netflix documentary. I've been meaning to watch it, but I've heard it's really good on that team. One of the best sports stories of all time.
Yep. Just a bunch of college and amateur hockey players beating up on the Soviet Union and their absolute incredible team that was the fighting Connor McDavids and Alexander Ovechkins. Like, probably better than some of those current day players if we had the same platform of the NHL that we do today. So if you haven't seen it, go watch the documentary, go watch the movie, because if USA can prevail and get to play Canada or whoever, if we match up with Finland, that'll be Sunday at 8:10 in the morning. So you'll be going to church late that Sunday if it's for Team USA. Or all the pastors can just throw it up on the screen during service.
Gives me
That's not a distraction at all.
Gives me 2022 World Cup vibes. That game between France and Argentina was at like 10 a.m. Eastern time, so it's similar vibes.
Well, get out the red, white, and blue. Go cheer on Team USA, because U.S. women's hockey is going for gold tomorrow, and a lot of other events going for gold over the next week or so. But we'll be back here next Wednesday, same time at 7 p.m. We'll be breaking down everything hockey related. We'll have a couple other things. Maybe it's time to flip to college basketball, and who knows, the MLB preview could start. You got to come next week to find out, as well as the blind top 10 for next week. We will see you back here Wednesday night, 7 p.m., Wednesday, February 25th. Make sure you mark your calendars. Don't miss it, because we'll notice if you're off the view count. Braden's taking tallies. There you go. Good night here from the Sports Outlet Show. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.